Moreover, the reward, as Hopkins envisioned it, was even more enticing. Who, after all, doesn't want to be more beautiful? Who doesn't want a prettier smile? Particularly when all it takes is a quick brush with Pepsodent. Hopkins' conception of the Pepsodent habit loop. After the campaign launched, a quiet week passed, then two. In the third week, demand exploded. There was so many orders for Pepsodent that the company couldn't keep up. In 3 years, the product went international, and Hopkins was crafting ads in Spanish, German, Chinese. Within a decade, Pepsodent was one of the top selling goods in the world and remained America's best selling toothpaste for more than 30 years. Before Pepsodent appeared, only 7% of Americans had a tube of toothpaste in their medicine chest. A decade after, Hopkins' ad campaign went nationwide. That number had jumped to 65%. By the end of the World War II, the military downgrade concern about recruits' teeth because so many soldiers were brushing every day. I made for myself $1 million on Pepsodent, Hopkins wrote a few years after the product appeared on shelves. The key, he said, was that he had learned the right human psychology. That psychology was grounded in two basic rules. First, find a simple and obvious cue, and second, clearly defines the rewards. If you get those elements right, Hopkins promised it was like magic. Look at Pepsodent. He had identified a cue, tooth film, and a reward, beautiful teeth, that had pursued millions to start a daily ritual. Even today, Hopkins' rules are a staple of marketing textbook and the foundation of millions of ad campaigns. And those same principles have been used to create thousands of their habits, often without people realizing how closely they are hewing to Hopkins' formula. Studies of people who have successfully started new exercise routine, for instance, show they are more likely to stick with a workout plan if they choose a specific cue, such as running as soon as they get home from work, and a clear reward, such as a beer or an evening of guilt free television. Search on dieting says creating new food habits require a predetermined cue, such as planning menus in advance and simple rewards for dietaries. When they stick to their intentions, the time has come when advertising has, in some hands, reached the statue of science, Hopkins wrote. Advertising, once a gam- gamble, has thus become, under able direction, one of the safest of business venture. It's a quiet boast. However, it turns out that Hopkins' two rules aren't enough. There's also a third rule that must be satisfied to create a habit. A rule so subtle that Hopkins himself relied on it without knowing it existed. It explains everything from why it's so hard to ignore a box of donuts to how a morning jog can become a nearly effortless routine.